Welcome viewers to Microsoft Build Digital. We are more than 12 hours into a 48-hour continuous global live stream. My name's Aaron Powell. I'm one of the cloud advocates based here in Sydney, and helping me co-host this portion of the event is Sonia. Sonia, you and I get to chat to some incredible people over our time on camera, but what can we expect the viewers to learn about?
Look, absolutely, Aaron. I'm Sonia Cuff. I'm a cloud advocate for Microsoft with a focus on IT pros. I just want to start by acknowledging the traditional owners and the custodians of the lands on which myself and Aaron are presenting from today. I also acknowledge that we have people joining us from all across Australia and around the world. And I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of those lands also, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers that we have with us today. Aaron, our chat is live, so our viewers can engage with our technical experts and ask our guests your questions. This is your time to geek out over technology with us and shape our conversations. Okay, Aaron, let's get into it. What did you think of Cestius' message?
I always find listening to the way Satya talks and the stuff that he shares really inspiring. It was amazing to see how organizations such as Folding at Home are able to leverage not only the power of Azure, but the power of global compute. You could be at home on your own computer and providing some valuable support to people that are building these sorts of things and being able to do the learning around diseases like they were doing about. How about you, Sonia? Was there anything that you really found exciting from it?
Look, our viewers might have picked up a little bit of an accent of mine that's not Australian, so I'm super excited that New Zealand is getting its own Azure region. Finally, Aotearoa will be the land of the long white cloud. And so it's great to see that support in my hometown country. The other interesting thing that I loved was looking and an infrastructure perspective, being able to tie all these different components of our infrastructure into one management plane through the Azure portal just makes life so much simpler. And containers was one of those things that when it was announced a few years ago, I went, this sounds cool. I understand the concept. How the heck am I going to make sure that they're managed and secure? And Azure Arc is a little step into helping us do that. Aaron, what did you think about those student innovations from the Imagine Cup and those projects?
I got to say that I'm blown away every time I get to watch the Imagine Cup. The passion that these students have and the knowledge that they have, I'm just so excited that that's the next generation of people coming into the IT industry. I don't understand how anyone was able to pick the winner out of that because they were all fantastic projects. It was really exciting to see the two finalists from the APAC region present about their sessions. I did have a pick on the mental health app from the get-go when I started watching today. I have a family member that struggles with mental illness, and this kind of desire to make their lives easier and support someone is something that is near and dear to my heart. And to see the passion that these students were talking about in that regards and that they wanted to do whatever they could to help was amazing. So did you have any favorites yourself, Sonia?
Yeah, absolutely. And it just warms my heart to see that with our technology platform, people can go and create these amazing things. It doesn't require you to have lots of experience in the workforce or lots of experience as a technologist to come up with a great idea and to be able to use it to help the world. It's no surprise that the mental health app is also one of my favorites. I've spoken before about burnout, and I'm quite a big mental health advocate for how technologists maintain that balance, especially when the work and the technology that we play with is something that we love so much. And one of the interesting things about that is that when we talk about mental health, it's kind of weird for technologists to try and quantify that. It's very sort of touchy-feely and subjective, and we're the kind of people that we like to go on facts and figures and data. So it's much harder to sort of quantify how you're feeling. And I think that project in particular really nailed that aspect in terms of being able to benchmark those tests, but also bring in sort of the body language context of those kind of signals that you don't get from just going into an app and answering some questions. But then being able to feed that back to your healthcare professional and the person that you're talking to about this stuff as well, it just completes the picture nicely. So fantastic use of technology. Aaron, it's always great to see Scott Hanselman, and this time he brought a full panel of experts in a very unique keynote for us this year. What was your biggest takeaway from that session?
I could go on about all the comedic aspects that I saw in it, like the kid popping in the background while he's on stream. I think we've all been in that kind of a conference call, but there were so many technology announcements that I wouldn't know where to start. We've only got a couple of minutes before we got to jump over to our first guest. So it's hard to pick like what was the ones that I thought were the coolest and biggest takeaway. And I'm going to have to say that the stuff around WSL2 and Terminal, that for me was really cool. I'm a bit of a Linux person at heart. It was what I kind of grew up playing with and working with as my first sort of computers. And to see the evolution of WSL to WSL2, the investment that we're now putting back into a terminal experience. And then when they showed the demo of doing some of the X11 stuff so that we could run graphical applications from WSL2, that might be enough to get me to go back onto Fast Ring Insiders on the Windows 10 builds, because I just want to play with that sort of stuff. It's so interesting and so fascinating to be able to see that in action. But then there was plenty of other things that we can do, like the WinGet ability to install and manage Windows software, just as I could with apt on Linux or Brew on Mac. I've spent a whole lot of time recently crafting scripts that allow me to do that sort of stuff and speaking about it, doing videos and blogs. And now I have to go rewrite all my scripts because there's all these new tools that can help that be done in a whole lot easier fashion. So it's always a little bit annoying when someone else steals your thunder of, I'm trying to say that, hey, this is how you do it, but someone else has done it and they've done it a lot simpler and a lot better than I could have. What about for you, Sonia? Because you are not a developer, you're an IT pro at heart. So what did you take away from the very developer-centric panel?
Look, the only thing I know about Linux is there's a penguin somewhere. That's as far as I go. But there were a couple of gems in there for the IT pros. First of all, you might have noticed at the very start of that session when Scott joined that Teams call, my eyes sort of lit up because he had this panel down the right-hand side in that Teams meeting where he was setting his device options. I haven't seen that in my Teams client yet. So I'm like, man, there's a new feature coming out that I want that I don't have. So that was a nice little hint about what's coming on that platform. Alison, when she shared about CodeSpaces. Now, CodeSpaces is an interesting one from an IT pro perspective because it's not something that I would have thought of, but I am used to setting up computers for people that use them. As I've started exploring more traditionally developer-centric tools like VS Code, I'm realizing that I have to go through and install things like extensions to be able to do the work that I'm doing, even from an IT pro perspective when I'm crafting PowerShell scripts or I'm writing documentation in Markdown. There's a bunch of little extensions that make my life easier when I'm using that VS Code platform for the kind of work that I'm doing. And yeah, it would be annoying to have to set that up if I'm moving machines, and I often do use more than one devices. But the most interesting thing for me about CodeSpaces was the fact that it does support that live share. And trust me, as someone who is still finding my feet with that way of working in terms of a more code-centric environment, to be able to live share what I've got on my screen with someone else to get some help is priceless. It's really going to help me get over some hurdles and move my work forward pretty quickly. And finally, when Panos Panay was sitting there talking about the future of Windows and what's going on with the Surface devices, I'm like, no, don't stop this. Like, this is the best part of the call for me. I just wanted him to stay on and be a fly on the wall for that conversation to see where that Windows operating system and our devices are going. The sizzle reel, of course, for our new Surface Book 3 is super eye-catching, and to find out at the end that it was actually rendered on a Surface Book 3, that is absolutely the icing on the cake. And I must admit, I got a message from my 10-year-old daughter saying, hey, Mum, do you get an employee discount these devices? So I think she's got her eyes set on a Surface Book 3, and I might have to look at her pocket money or get her doing some more chores around the house to earn that kind of an impressive machine. Hey, as Aaron mentioned, we are only 12 hours into our 48-hour live stream. We're going global and we're just warming up. Aaron, tell us how people can get the most out of their Build Digital experience.
So there's a lot of different things that are going to be happening throughout Build. There's going to be the breakout sessions, there's us here at the news desk, and then a variety of other concurrent streams. So the best thing for you to do first up is go and register at Microsoft Build website, mybuild.microsoft.com. And from there, you'll be able to join into the breakout sessions that are happening, the Q&As, such as the one that we've got running for the live stream that we're presenting at, and the interactive panel sessions that are happening with our experts across the business. So again, go to register.build.microsoft.com so that you can sign up for that and start building the agenda and the schedule that you want to attend.
Absolutely. And Build Digital is just the beginning. During and after the event, head over to Microsoft Learn to level up your skills with videos on demand, training modules, and certification courses. Then, when Build ends, make sure to come back to Microsoft Learn and check out our new and updated courses and certification. Why not take part in the Microsoft Build Skills Challenge? Level up your skills and support one of our 5 charitable causes: UNICEF, NetHope, Doctors Without Borders, Nature Conservancy, and Code.org. Aaron, for those who are just joining us, what can they expect from today?
Well, first off, they can expect to learn a lot. There's so much content that's going to be coming over the course of the day that there's always something new to learn. But also, we want to have some fun. We've never done a Build event like this, where we're going from Redmond to Sydney and Brisbane, and then to London, and back again, and we're doing that twice. Over the course of 48 hours, that's 2 laps around the globe that we're going to be doing segments on. We're going to have the key segments like we just saw with Thatcher, the Imagine Cup, and Scott Hanselman. We'll have more of those throughout the event, so make sure that you check out your schedule builder and select the ones that you want to see. But we're also going to have talks in our innovation space, where we can see about the future visions that we have for the platforms that we have at Microsoft, hear video testimonials and case studies from companies that work with us all around the globe. But most importantly, engage with us. We don't want to feel like we're sitting alone in a room, which we kind of are, but we want you to be there with us. Send us tweets on the hashtag MSBuild. Build is a live online event, so show us what it looks like at your home and what you're doing to watch Microsoft Build. Show us your tweets and make sure you use the hashtag MSBuild so that we can look at them throughout the day, and just be aware that we might even bring up your tweet so you might see yourself on the live stream. And we also have the community connections stream that's happening concurrently. That's where we can hear from our community leaders and Microsoft experts, and they can talk about the things that they're doing that they're passionate about. We'll be able to get sneak peeks at the new Microsoft products that are being announced or are upcoming. We're going to be able to meet the teams behind them, so from the breakout sessions and here on the panel. And we're going to be able to go one-on-one with some of the tech experts across the business to answer your specific questions. That's what you can get from being registered at Microsoft Build. But it's not just about the technology. We talked before about the Imagine Cup winners and the fact that mental health was something that we were both passionate about. Well, we've got some wellness sessions that are happening in conjunction to the technical sessions, whether it's how you think creatively, doing yoga with the devs, or just seeing what everyone's animals look like in their home. I think that's a great way to kind of unwind and take a break from the deep technical stuff. But the fun doesn't stop there, Sonia, does it?
That's right. Look, during this global pandemic, we want to show the world how you are helping with technology. Share your development story on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn with the hashtag #BuildForGood, so our social media team can highlight your great initiatives. And follow that hashtag to see inspiring community stories from around the world.
And in the social time, we want to meet and celebrate you, because you're the people that make this event as successful as it can be. Make sure you check out the Microsoft Build Film Festival. There's a lot of content that you can produce there and share what it looks like and what the stuff that you are building as well. But we're going to start off our live desk programming, and we're going to go full tilt with that. Some of my colleagues here in Microsoft Australia have created a pinball machine that plays itself. And we're going to see that live in action shortly. It uses reinforcement learning to work out when to fire the flippers and how to create high scores that you have to try and beat. Before we get to that though, I want to do one more reminder. Register for the sessions at register.microsoftbuild.com so you can get access to the digital breakouts as well as the stream that you're watching now. So Sonia, can you tell us a bit about what our viewers can see on the digital breakout sessions?
Okay, so right now on our live breakouts, we've got responsible machine learning, getting started and analyzing your models. We've got moving the web forward with Microsoft Edge and Chromium. And one of my favorites, evaluate and optimize your costs using the Microsoft Azure well-architected framework. We have embedding analytics into multi-tenant SaaS applications with Power BI embedded, and how to be super productive with Node.js and Visual Studio Code. Plus, we've also got SQL Server on Linux and containers for developers. For a full list of the sessions during a digital event, check out the session scheduler on the My Build site. Now, robots are taking over the world, but I never thought they'd take over one of my favorite pastimes and start to play pinball. Jack Skinner is standing by with Aaron and a Star Wars pinball machine. Take it away, guys.